Darts players, Sean, SWR Darts Coaching. Hope we're doing well. This is a video referencing something that I posted on Facebook quite a while ago. So on the 24th of July, I put a post out on Facebook. I've got it here in front of me, so I'm going to be constantly looking down at my screen. But I did, let's do a Q&A. And my initial intention was that I was going to get all these questions from you guys, from the people on Facebook. And then I was going to do little individual snippets and answer them that way. And over the time, I've just got to the stage where I've been like, I'll try to film this one, I'll try to film that one. And I was just like, no. So what I'm done is I just thought, we'll do one big video. One big video answering all these questions that came in on Facebook. I'm going to answer them to the best of my ability. If I can't answer a question, I'll explain why I can't answer a question. I'm just going to give you my honest opinion on what I would answer to. If you came to a one-to-one session, this is the answer I would give you. So I'm not going to do them in any particular order. Some have actually come in since I stopped it as well. So all I'm literally doing is I'm taking the top one and I'm going to work my way down on this screen here. I will put here, though, you know, the screenshot from the Facebook page, just so you get the idea of it as well. Okay, so we'll start with Barry Cooper. How do I change my mindset of thinking? I've already lost. Or shall I beat this person because he's having such a negative impact on my game? So, great one to start with here, Barry. How do I change my mindset of thinking I've already lost or I should beat this person? The should is an issue in any wake of sports, though. The should, would, could. You know, you should be beating that person. Oh, I would have beat that person. The should and the would should always be changed to a could. You could beat that person. But who's stopping you from beating that person? Yourself. This is the thing with the mindset. I talked about it quite a lot recently that if you score a score of 11 with your first three darts and you're on 490 and your opponent kicks off with a lovely 140 and is on 361, a lot of darts players will conceive that to be that they've lost that game because you've hit that score of 11. But then all of a sudden you start having to go at that score of 11. You start like going, oh, come on. And you start ramping up your anxiety, ramping up your aggression. The fact is that then you're just not going to flow into the rest of your game, are you? The rest of your darts game is then gone. And it's all about what you do in the pre-throw routine for me. So what I would say to you there, Barry, is changing that mindset is when you're back in that pre-throw routine, that throw's done, it's gone. You just had a bad visit of a score of 11. It's done, it's gone, it's in the books, it's folded, it's done. It's a stitch in the history of tapestry of your darts life. So why let it bother you? Because if that stitch has gone wrong and you're letting it bother you, you're going to affect the next stitch. So just go, yeah, okay, 11, 490, I can still win this game. And it's them negative connotations as well that you might be saying to yourself, going, I've lost this game after your first three darts, that then is ramping up that negativity. And don't forget, negativity just breeds negativity. Confidence stays confident. So how do you go about changing your mindset? That's why you've got to look at your pre-throw routine, what you do before you throw. The should beat the person should always be a could. You could beat that player. You could beat that player if you believe in your own darts game and you believe in what you do. Because you're correct. Thinking that you've lost after 3 darts, 6 darts, and constantly saying I should is just going to cause more and more negativity. So it's a mindset twist. And again, I do mindset sessions here in coaching. John Rendell. Now, John's on here a few times, I think, but we'll go for this one. When practicing, how long should you practice the small changes when implementing something new in your throw and how to not think about it during a match? Now, you should be thinking about these things during a match anyway, and this is why we have our training time. In our training time, John, this is when we should be doing, any implementable changes and working on them, and then basically saying to ourselves, right, I recently did a thing where I just dropped my elbow down a little bit from my normal position. There's a reason I'm doing it. I'm currently with another coach, if you will. I'm talking to him about my own game because I want to get back playing. And what you'll find as well, any coaches that are out there, it's very difficult to coach yourself. So I've gone to another coach, of someone who I respect, and he's given me a few little tips on what I didn't see. I thought, but I didn't see. So going on what you're saying here, I now have sort of 20 minutes to half an hour in training where I'm just letting that elbow just drop that little bit, just to get that little bit better line of sight. And I implement it in my training, but then that's it, it's done. I then go and do the rest of my stuff in my training. And then when I go and play, I'm not thinking about that. And after a period of time now, it's just become second nature to what I do, because I know that when I'm at that hockey and training, we're working on that. And then when I go to play a match, I'm just doing what I've been doing in training. So how long should you practice the small changes? I would encourage you to do it. If someone's giving you a change and implementing change, do it within the first 72 hours and try and do it for about 30 minutes. Maybe twice a day for 30 minutes, but do it within the first 72 hours if you can. Simon, my average has been stuck for a year or so now on low mid 60s. I throw the occasional 70 plus average game, but is there a wonder routine I should be practicing to hit 70-ish and average more consistently? No, there is no such thing as a wonder routine, and if there was, I probably wouldn't be in a job. What I would say, obviously, here, Simon, from my point of view, is let's look at what you are training. You're obviously chasing these averages because that's your key element. Now, when you're saying here that you're now into the mid to low 60s, is this match averages, or are these averages when you're at home playing on your board, on your Scolia, on your Omnis, on your DartsMind, or whatever the app is you use? That's your training time at home. So if your training time is only involving around 501, 301, whatever it is you play, no. We've got to look at the other elements, because what's affecting the average will be the amount of darts that you're using at the end in your setup and your end game phase, no doubt. Yes, the power scoring element could play a little bit here, but 9 times out of 10, I find it's the setup and endings that are causing them players to use them extra 3 darts, extra 4 darts here and there, and that's causing your average to, stay down and not go to where it needs to be. So straight away, there's no sort of magical routine, unfortunately. I wish there was. We have, a lot of people hit the 50 wall and then can't get past the 50 wall, and then they get into the 60 wall, and then it's like, well, I've gone from nothing to 30, 30 to 50, 50 to 60. What's going on? And that's at that point then where you may have hit your natural ceiling without training, or you've hit your ceiling. There are players out there that are never really going to be that consistent 90, 100 average player. I'm sorry, that's the truth of the matter. But you can train your way to that model. And that's what it's all about. It's about training your way to that model. So my advice there, Simon, is, let's look at what you're training in that time that you have on your board. Ryan Foster, I have an issue, particularly with my third dart, drifting into the 5. I've checked the new section on scores on DC. On my 2 most popular scores are 85 and 45. So the evidence is there to back up my theory. Okay, so we have an issue, as you were saying, with that third dart drifting. My initial thought here, I can't diagnose this, Ryan, because I've not seen you throw. But my initial diagnosis here from thought process alone and seeing the players I've worked with over the last 8 years, the thousands upon thousands of players that I've worked with over the last years, is that third dart, you are potentially walking, moving your body forward and letting your arm flow across, because all of a sudden now it's gone. So you're just letting that arm go a little bit looser on that third dart. That would be my estimate, but without seeing you throw, I couldn't comment. I do get a lot of 85s. I won't lie, when I play, I do get a lot of 85s, and I don't mind an 85. I quite like an 85 as well as the 125s, obviously. But my 85s, my first dart is normally my 5. That first dart is normally the 5. So yours is that third dart. So again, for me, I'm going to presume that you're maybe motioning on that third dart, would be what I would go. Okay, so we've got Colby Wood here, offering a 2-parter. I had a span of 3 to 4 weeks of consistently playing my best darts ever, averaging high 50s and 60s, and even managed a game in the 70s. And then all of a sudden, I just can't seem to get higher than a 45 average. Why would this be? My initial guess there, Colby, would be that you're chasing. You've seen them numbers and you're going, yeah, I've got there. And then all of a sudden, you're chasing it. Again, you may be changing something in your consistency. Consistency starts before you throw a dart. So even again, if we're talking here that you are talking about your averages at home, not in match play, it's a different environment. You're king of your castle when you're at home, or queen of your palace when you're at home, whatever you want to look at it wise. So we do things differently. We don't tend to focus on that pre-throw routine when we're at home, and especially when we're feeling that we're in that good groove. We just want to keep throwing darts, and that's when we change things. And again, you're trying to chase something. Averages aren't the be-all and end-all, Colby. Getting down to the finish and getting that finishing score is, my friend. I'm consistently hitting into the 5s, and it doesn't matter where I stand, and when I try and change my release, it goes into the 5s a lot. When I don't get it straight, similar when I'm on 19s, I always go into 7 and 16s. It's frustrating. Any tips? Again, I need to see these throws. You can't diagnose something without seeing it. We've all done that thing whereby we've got a little mark on our arm and we go on Google and then realise it's one of the worst diseases in the world. And what do we do now in this situation? And then all of a sudden we realise we caught ourselves on the cooker a week ago, and that's what it was. My thought process is when a lot of people say to me they're hitting the 5s or they're hitting the 1s, the 5s is normally the right-handed player. And the 5s for a left-handed player is that they're trying to throw straight, but they're lined up towards the 5 as they've walked in. Right-handed player, you tend to lean across from the 20 centre line and then let your arm drive across your body. So you tend to come over here with your dart already pointing away. The dartboard's there, but your dart's pointing that way. So as you're letting it go, you're trying to then twist that wrist a little bit, but you're not twisting it in time. The release is there, so the dart's then going across our face, across our line of sight, and that's why we're hitting the 5s a lot. These are things I pick up on in sessions with players. These are a lot of the easy things that we pick up on sessions in players. Especially in the 2-hour sessions, we can diagnose that within the first sort of 10 to 15 minutes, and then we can work on the implementation of getting away from that as we go forward. I had a player in here recently who everything was to the side of his face, and as he brings that dart to the side of the face, the dart is going that way, his line of sight's that way, and his dart's going across that line of sight. So as he brings it forward, he naturally has to do that. But the release is there, so when he's doing that, it's not working for him. That would be my assessment there, Colby. Again, I can only go off what I believe. Danny Aldred, how long should you practice for? And should you focus on a specific area within each practice session, i.e. one day is a session on doubles and checkouts, another day is a session on power scoring single doubles? Yes. So how long should we train for? There are 7 days in the week. Should we train every day? No, not in my opinion. We need a day where we don't pick the darts up. We need a day where we build the hunger back up for wanting to continue. If you're stuck in a rut, by the way, and all you're doing is playing 501, and because 501 will make you better, it's not going to help you, and you're just going to get more and more frustrated, more and more down with the game, and not even want to pick the damn things up. So my advice has always been 7 days in the week, at least have a day off. 5 is great, 4 is the minimum. 4 should be the minimum. And when you got them 4 days, look at it this way and my way. When I work with a lot of players, what I talk about is I want 3 days where we have at least an hour good structured practice. And then within them 3 days as well, we do a little bits and bobs. So you might only have 20 minutes period here. So we go up on the board, we do a 20-minute little routine game. We don't go up and just play 501 and just throw it at 20 because it's pointless. I want some structure in what I'm doing. But again, every day I'm looking across a focused area. So it won't be a case of that Monday I'm going to do power scoring, Wednesday I'm going to do setup work, Thursday I'm going to do another element, and then say Saturday I'm going to do my finishing element. No, I'm going to make sure that I mix it up throughout the week. But when I'm doing my actual structured training, that's when I'm doing, a good structure, and I'll probably have all the 3 or 4 elements within that training session. But yeah, without a doubt, you've got to look at training and the different elements of the fact that you want to get your score down to under 170, for instance. So we're working on the power scoring. We want to work on ball management, so we're going to work from the mid 300s, mid 200s, and try and get to a finishing score. We've then got to work on them finishing scores, not just 1-2-1 guys. It doesn't work. We're looking at the small finishing scores, the high finishing score, the high finishing numbers, low finishing scores. And we're working on them elements. And then when we train that way, it's like a jigsaw. Eventually, all them pieces will click together, and then that's when you've got your darts game. And when you go out to the pubs and your leagues and your ADCs and your vaults and everything, what you've been doing in training should then mirror out in them events, if you allow it to. The next one down here on the screen, so I'm just going to obviously scroll it down as we go through on here. But Leighton Wayne, can I book a 1-2-1 session for me and my son near Christmas? Also, you commented on my throw last week what was meant by PTR. You said I need to work on that. Yeah, all sessions can be booked via my website. Obviously, I've always talked about that. On the website, I don't show group bookings and stuff, but you can contact me and we can organise that. The reason I don't show group bookings on there is just because I'd rather get an idea of who's coming and how many people are coming. So yeah, anything like that, you can contact me. The PTR, I will talk about that in the session, but I've already given the answer away to the PTR, so I dare say some smart aleck will now post it in the comments. It's normally what happens. Doug Mallon, I'm constantly changing my darts like Peter Wright. Is that good or bad? For me, on a personal note, it's a bad thing. The dart's a tool. That's all it is. I talk about this one in sessions recently, and I did it on a web podcast thing I did a while ago. If you go to B&Q and buy a hammer, it's B&Q. It's a renowned name, isn't it? And then you go to Poundland and you buy a 99p hammer. They're both still a hammer. So you go home then, you get the B&Q hammer because that's the best hammer. And you put the nail on the wall and you start hammering that nail and that nail bends up. What's going on here? It's the best hammer from B&Q. I get the Poundland hammer. Same thing happens. Now what's the situation here? Is it the hammer's problem? Was it the nail's problem? Or was it the person who was driving it, the mechanic of the hammer? It was the person driving it, the mechanic of the hammer, which is you. What tool you put in your hand is what tool you have in your hand. Darts is the same. What dart you have in your hand is your dart. Now, yes, I do get into this, chat of, I'm a rear gripper, so I need a scallop. I'm a front gripper, so I need a weight. All them things can come into play. I've got, probably 30 different darts over there on the wall. I've picked up one of each and thrown them and played in games like that. Why? Because I understand my mechanics, I understand my process, my mindset, my mechanics. So the tool that's in my hand is irrelevant because everything else is already put in the process. And that's what I work a lot on in sessions to get people to understand that. Should you be changing darts constantly? No. Do you? Yes, everyone does. You walk into a dart shop and it's like, whoa, shiny tungsten, which ones do I want today? No, come on. You've got a set of darts and you just work with that set of darts if you can. But in theory, if you understand your mindset, your technique and your mechanics, you should be able to pick up anything and throw anything. That's why you get these people who can throw really well with brass pub darts. Why? Because they understand what they're doing with their mechanics and their mindset and the technique. So for me, Doug, try and stick to a set if you can. Right, Lucian Laval. For the new players or those struggling to find consistency, how do you make the elbow height and arm movement in your throw more consistent? For me, it's all about the line of sight. So I mentioned earlier that I'm just trying to tweak my elbow a little bit, and it was after a recent video of me watching something of my throw that I thought to myself, it looks like that elbow is starting a little bit higher than I wanted it to. The elbow should start below the shoulder in theory. And when I say below, I don't mean like all the way down here. But I do work with a player that throws from there. So he's throwing really from sort of the neck height. But when his arm finishes out, it's finishing up good as well. I think I talk a lot about the line of sight though, and I do believe that we should be starting this dart around there towards the line of sight. Now in that case, then my elbow is going to be below my shoulder. But I've also seen players that start with their arm all the way up there, all the way out there, above the head. Everyone's getting that different technique in that side of things. But for me, just bring your dart into your line of sight. And then every time that dart's coming into your line of sight there. And that's all we should be looking for. So again, something like that for me is a coaching thing. You can't really discuss that because I don't even know what your throw would look like. But yeah, consistency within your elbow. Don't all these talk about your elbow needs to be up in the same line as your shoulder. That's not right. That's not right. Kieran Wood, why do so many social media influencers think it's okay to post bad advice about what everyone else should be doing, and what effect will they have this on darts coaching market going forward? I have already answered that one. And again, listen, I've said it before. I've got no problem with people giving out advice as long as it's structured and it's correct. There was a guy recently I saw on TikTok who was telling people to throw 30 darts. You want to work on your doubles, throw 30 darts at like double 20 and see how many you can hit. And his first dart lands in big 5. So in a match that's left you 35. So why are you still throwing it at double top is my question, to which I didn't get a very nice reply off him. social media influencers are what they are. I've never claimed to be one. I am not one. What I am is a darts coach. The darts coaching market is flooded at the moment. There's no doubt about that. There are some great coaches out there as well in the UK, and now I'm working with a coach from America at the moment. There are some great coaches out there, but believe me, there's some tripe out there as well. You've got to tread carefully. The thing I always joke is, before you go to a coach, are they PDPA qualified? Have they done like JDC qualifications as well? Have they got any sports science, psychology certifications? Have they got reviews from other players? Check them things out first. Right, so we're moving through them. Steve Garrett, left-hander. First dart, too many in the fives. How can I correct my setup aim? Don't think I reach for the second dart. So, again, I can't talk about a specific throw because I have not seen it, Stephen. But first dart, too many in the fives. What I'm straight away feeling there is you are trying to really force that arm to go straight, yet you're aligned away from the centre line of throw. So your arm will be driving into the fives a lot. You may be bringing the dart to the side of the face instead of sort of into the corner of the bridge of the nose and going forward that way. So if you're coming to there and you're already lined up to the left because you're naturally left-sided anyway and trying to drive arm straight, you're going to be driving into what I perceive to be the left third of the dartboard. But without seeing the throw, it's difficult to comment. David Troy, I have the sight right, so I know I'm visually centered. How do I sort my foot, body, shoulder alignment? So if you're on the central alignment, you want to make sure then that your dominant eye is on that center line. So the foot placement becomes irrelevant, foot position doesn't. So the foot position, if you go in angled, you still got to make sure that line of sight is on the center. In any of the position, if you go full flat, you tend to drop back a little bit more. And if you go in as a toe one play, which a lot of people do find uncomfortable, it's the better one for me as well, because as you line everything up, then your arm, your leg, your line of sight is all there in that line. But it's not for everyone. David, the thing again, what I'm going to say there is, if you understand how the sight right works, don't overthink necessarily the body position. You'll want to be bringing that dart into the line of sight, into your eye line, and driving forward through it. You should already be doing that if you understand the principles behind the sight right. Marie-Anne, how can I stop losing my throw? Sometimes just doesn't throw the same. That's a mindset issue there, Marie, for me. You're overthinking everything. You're entering the overthinking trap. You're analysing every dart, every movement. You're not losing your throw at all. You're just not going, oh, well, that's hit the treble 20. Why is the next one not hit the treble 20? Because you're doing, you're rushing things. You're not letting it be a repeatable, repetitive action. You're going, oh, that's good. Follow it. Muscle memory, muscle memory. No such thing as muscle memory. Follow it, follow it, follow it. No, don't work like that. It's 3 darts, 3 shots. That's how I want you to think about it. 3 darts, 3 shots. Adrian Hargadon, I presume this was asking for more advice for hitting more trebles. Work on it in your training, my friend. Work on it in your training. John Charlton, my darts keep landing in 1 when going for 20. I know there could be many reasons, but what is the main one, please? Again, I'm not seeing your throw, so I'm just going to analyse what I'm going to say. Alignment issues here is what I would initially say. I don't know if you're right-handed, left-handed, but my initial thought process there is alignment. Where do we go now? Charlene, how do I get a kid to stop throwing it like a baseball? He throws from his shoulder, and no matter how we show him different ways, he can't seem to change it. He's a kid, he doesn't want to change. He doesn't want to do what people are telling him, especially if he's your son, maybe, I don't know. Listen, kids don't want to listen to adults, do they? They want to do their own thing. I'm guessing that he's doing that. So he's coming from back there, going over there. What I would say in that motion there is, if you can get him to a coach, that coach can then sort of sit him down and talk to him. He won't know the coach, so if he's not a family member, etc. I tend to find that when kids come in here, they react better to me as a coach than they would to their parents, even though I'm probably saying the same thing as what their parents are trying to explain. We know that that's no good. Because there's, and I dare say it's dead quick as well, so his arm's getting constantly coming across and everything. So for me, I'd be doing a couple of different routines in my session with him, just to get him to, 1, work on the pre-throw routine, 2, slow down that process, but 3, keep it as fun as I could as well. Kyle Hogan, all of the above. Well, last 20 odd minutes have helped you there, Kyle, I'm hoping. Again, we got one here. Now, this one's got obviously a few replies to it because I have replied back. So I'm not going to touch on that one, but Dave Brown did ask about the golf game, how that works. Check out the actual Facebook post for that one. AJ Johnson, show me a proper grip for a mid to rear grip type. Proper grip. There's no such thing as a proper grip, mate. Listen, what we should be doing here, we're talking about the darts. Now, I haven't got a dart in my hand here at my desk because they're over there. So let's imagine that's the dart. If I grip the dart there, what's happening at the front of that? Oh, it's falling down it. So I'll grip it there. And what's happening? Oh, the weight's coming down at the back. So I grip it in the middle. That's not moving now, is it? I've got a light grip on it as well. You see a little bit of movement there. It's all about that. Where the weight balance of your dart is, or in this case, the pen. I can just do it. There we go. That is where you should be gripping it because that's where the weight is. So as you bring that dart back, you're then pushing the weight forward. So there's no such thing as a proper grip, as you say there. But for the mid to rear grip, if you're using a centrally weighted dart, you want to just be gripping on the weight anyway. So it's not really something that I would go into. And I don't get into a lot of people's grips anyway. Are you gripping where the weight balance of your dart is? Yes, brilliant. Carry on, crack on. Are you gripping so that you're holding it like that, all tight and, clustered around? I will talk about that then, of course I would. But if they're just gripping that dart, just nice and natural, I don't even bother with the grip. Why? Because at the end of the day, it's how you're gripping that dart. Are you gripping where the weight balance is and are you pushing through with your fingers? If you're doing them two things, it's half the battle. And the last one on here, how can we play at a good standard over long formats? This is John Rendell, by the way. How can we play at a good standard over long formats? Can play good standard at short format matches, but struggle with the longer formats. And that is all to do with your mindset mentality. I would rather play a best of 21 than a best of 5. I don't like playing the best of 3 at the ADCs. I would rather play a longer format. More so because I like to just let them first few legs be a bit of a fun for me. I like to settle into them first few legs and just feel the board, feel my throw, feel the board, and just let myself move around the board a little bit. If I'm in a tournament as well, it's about getting used to the environmental areas. But if you're in a knockout tournament, you can't do that. You've got to get straight in there. It's all about the mindset preparation. That's what, John, that is the biggest thing for any dart player. I talk about when players go to darts tournaments now. I have a couple of players that I'm working with, they're going Q School next year and we're working towards the work that we're going to do when they're at Q School. And I said, listen, you're going to be starstruck a little bit, no doubt. You're going to be struggling. It might be warm. You don't know the environments. So I'm trying to put them into them environments in sessions right now so that they'll be ready for it when they get there. And they aren't long formats. They are the short format, hits. Again, for me, I'd rather play at a longer format because I settle into a longer format better. But if I need to play a short format, I'm okay with that because I know what I'm doing. I know how to deal with my mindset. So in reply to your question, how can we play at a good standard over longer formats? It is literally about making sure that you're just getting that fluid on board beforehand, making sure there's nothing else that's going to distract you. Like, do I need to go to the toilet? Do I need to do this? Or I need to, I need to make sure my shirt's tucked in. Do all that before you step up to play as well. It will help you. So that's everything. That was all the questions that were put on that Facebook post all the way back in July. And again, I've left it for so long to answer them, and I just thought I'd do one big video. This has been about half an hour, which if you're still with me right now, I really appreciate you. Thank you very much. You've probably given up by now, so thank you for the bit you did watch. I will try and do timestamps. I don't know how that works, but I will try and do timestamps on the video if I can. And if I've answered anything and you felt to yourself, well, yeah, that sounds interesting, I'd like to know more, find me online, swrdartscoaching.co.uk. You can book in with me for one-to-one coaching sessions. I offer online sessions as well. The in-person ones are much better for me, I feel, for players as well. But yeah, I offer online and in person. So come and find me. I'm based in Stoke-on-Trent, Staffordshire in the UK. I'm not too far from many of the major cities like Stoke, Derby, Nottingham, etc. Manchester's not too far away as well up the road, but that's another debate for another day. Again, thank you very much for watching, and darts players, till the next one, stay straight.